Okay, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Chapter 6, which is Subject and Verb Agreement. Before we proceed through the chapter, let's first review the pretest, which really covers most of the components within the chapter itself. Okay, in the pretest on number 1, it says a new set of guidelines for company internet use is or are being prepared. Okay, whenever you are preparing, trying to decide what the subject of the sentence is, which is the doer of the action, or the main event or the main person that is perpetrating something, the subject of that particular sentence, you make a decision of what that particular subject is. The subject right here is set. Now the word of guidelines for company internet use, all of this is a prepositional phrase. So in determining whether the verb that goes along with the subject is singular or plural, first, disregard any prepositional phrase as if it doesn't exist. Even though there's plurality within the prepositional phrase, disregard it. Look at the subject. Is it singular or plural? Well, this subject is singular, so we need a singular verb, which is is. How can you identify a singular verb? Many times verbs that are in the present tense that are singular end with s. Verbs that don't end with s are generally plural in the present tense. So that helps quite a bit in making that decision as to whether, as to identify a singular verb. Number 2, the committee chair, along with 2 managers, has or have been given authority to revamp the guidelines. Whenever you're making a decision as to whether the subject and verb is singular or plural, first identify the subject, and then disregard any intervening elements such as a prepositional phrase or anything that begins with along with or together with, in addition to, any intervening element between the subject and verb, even though the intervening element suggests plurality. So the chair is singular, so I need a singular verb, which is has. So therefore, the committee chair, along with 2 managers, has been given authority to revamp the guidelines. Number 3, there is or are several excellent tools you can use to search the web. The problem with beginning sentences with there and it, and here for that matter, those 3 beginnings really force the reader to look later into the sentence to find the main subject of that sentence. In business communication, we avoid the use of there and it as sentence beginnings because it makes the sentence wordy. But it's not illegal to use. We just don't use it in the business communication process. So I'm going to look at the main idea, and it looks like it's tools. So tools shows plurality, so I need to use a verb that is plural. Okay, so therefore several excellent tools are there, is basically what that's saying. Okay, number 4, one of the plant supervisors plans or plan to design a new safety program. Okay, again, avoid any prepositional phrases by marking them off. 1 is your singular subject. We need a singular verb, which is plans, which ends with s. Number 5, much time and effort has or have gone into the design of the media center. Okay, whenever you have 2 subjects joined by the word and they're completely different entities, they're not functioning as one unit, then in this particular case we have time, which is singular, and effort, which is singular, and then the word and, which is a joiner. It joins those 2 singular subjects, which turns them into plurality. We need a plural verb. So much time and effort have gone into the design of the media center. Number 6, neither the supervisor nor. When you have a neither nor or either or type of situation, you always look at the latter subject to determine if it's going to be singular or plural. So in other words, the supervisor, we're not going to really pay attention to it, even though it is one of the subjects. It's neither that one or that one. It's neither or, either or type of situation. We're going to look at the one latter, the one that's mentioned last, which is after the or the nor, and it's plural, and so we're going to use a plural verb. Members are. Okay, then I'm going to move down to number 7. Neither the members of this team nor the supervisor. Remember up here in number 6, we looked at the last one, which is members, which is plural. Now we switched it around, and the supervisor is singular. So we need a singular verb to go along with the singular subject, is. Okay, everyone is or are welcome to attend the grand opening ceremony. The word everyone is considered to be an indefinite pronoun, and it's always considered to be singular. So everyone, singular, is welcome to attend the grand opening ceremony. Everyone is spelled as one word or 2 words. It's only spelled as 2 words when an of phrase follows. When an of phrase follows, then you spell everyone with 2 words. Okay, the team has or have implemented a new quality assurance something, and we have to determine, first of all, is team acting as a singular unit or as one collective unit, or is it showing plurality? Since the team as a whole has implemented a new quality assurance, team becomes singular, so we need a singular verb. The team has implemented. Okay, anytime you have a number or the number, if it's a number, the verb that follows will be plural. If it's the number, then the verb will be singular. So a number shows plurality with the word a, and then we need a plural verb, which is are, letter B. So the number is always singular and a number is always plural, which makes sense because if you say a number of this, this, or this, you're talking about plurality. But you're talking about the number, then it's singularity. Let's go ahead and take a look at the chapter as it goes into these details a little bit more in depth. Okay, first you want to locate your subject. All verbs do have subjects, and locating these subjects can be difficult, particularly when a prepositional phrase comes between the verb and its subject, or an intervening element separates the subject and the verb, or sentences begin with there, here, it, or sentences are inverted. So we've already discussed that, so we're good to go and look at the next section. Shows an example on the next page of prepositional phrases that are intervening elements. And prepositions generally are the words of, to, in, from, for, with, on, and by. And then the object of a preposition is always a noun or a pronoun. So if you can link a word to an object, then that particular word is probably a preposition. And then on the other side of the preposition is the object of the preposition. So disregard it whenever you're trying to determine if the verb of the subject is singular or plural. So let's look at this example here. Each of the candidates is trying to impress the interviewer. Well, the word each is an indefinite pronoun, which is always considered to be singular. The word of the candidates, that's plural right there, but we're going to disregard it. Each is a singular subject, so we need to use a singular verb, is. Our complete list of customers' name and addresses. Here's a prepositional phrase right there. Shows plurality in the prepositional phrase. Disregard it. So list is singular. We need a singular verb, was. The online version of the magazine's college rankings is available. Okay, here's a prepositional phrase which indicates plurality. Disregard it. Version is singular, and the verb associated with it is also singular. Okay, then let's move down to the lower portion of the screen. Some of the less easily recognized prepositions are the words except, but, like, and between. when they take an object, a noun or a pronoun, they're considered to be prepositional phrases. For example, the word but Zachary is a prepositional phrase. Employees is plural, and so we need a plural verb, are. Everyone except the manager. Here's another prepositional phrase. Managers is a noun that's the object of the preposition except. Everyone is an indefinite singular pronoun, so we need a singular verb, is. The next section talks about intervening elements. Begins with the words as well as, together with, including, plus, or other than, or along with, in addition to. Disregard those. Look at the main idea of the sentence, which is star. What does the star do, which is singular? We need a singular verb, is. Okay. Together with the personnel director and her assistant. Manager is singular. Disregard the intervening element, and has a singular verb. Such as Debbie Fields, disregard that intervening element. Look at entrepreneurs, which is plural. We need a plural verb, have. Application plus other important employment documents. This plus other is an intervening element, and so application is singular, and we need a singular verb. Then when you have sentences that begin with there and here, it's not illegal, but we just really don't want to use that for business communication for the most part, but it forces us to create wordy sentences. We have to look later in the sentence to find the true subject, because the word there really functions as an adverb. It tells usually where is what it's referring to. There are two basic formats. Formats is your plural subject, so we need a plural verb, are. Here is the fuel oil consumption report. Okay, report is the main idea. Report is here. What kind of report? The fuel oil consumption report is here. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the next element. Oh, it's continued with this one with the here and the there. Okay, here is or here are the items you ordered. Okay, this is really important in this particular case here because the word items is the main idea, which is plural. So I'm saying the items is here. So I have a plural subject and a singular verb, which you cannot use. So it should read, here are the items you ordered, as illustrated right here. Okay, there is or are many reasons Facebook succeeded. Reasons indicates plurality. There is many reasons. Reasons is, it doesn't work because we have a plural subject with a singular verb. So it should be, there are many reasons Facebook succeeded. Inverted order. Many times when you ask a question, look for the subject after the verb in inverted sentences and in questions. Related to soft skills are etiquette and professionalism. Okay, in this particular case, it begins with a verbal, and we find the subject a little bit later on. So we have two subjects, and both of those are singular, joined by and to show plurality. So we need a plural verb, are. On the President's advisory team are several prominent economists. Economists indicates plurality, and then are is a plural verb. Now, here is a question. Have the product specifications been submitted? All questions are inverted because it places the subject toward the end, which is specifications. It's plural. And specifications, we need plural verbs, which is have been submitted. It would not be specifications has been submitted, but have been submitted. Then, one of the more important ones, how important are salary, benefits, and job security? So we have three items. That one's plural, and this one's singular. Joined by the word and, so the many singular and plural items are brought together. We have plural subjects, and we need a plural verb. Salary, benefits, and job security are important. Okay, subjects joined by and. Whenever you have two subjects joined by and, each of those being singular, we need to add them together and make them plurals. We need a plural verb. 1, 2, and 3, all of those are singular. Now we need a plural verb to go with the plurality of those singular subjects. Okay, subjects joined by and are singular and thus take a singular verbs in only two cases: when the words are preceded by each or every, and when the words represent a single person or thing. So here's some each and every beginnings. Okay, each expense claim and purchase order. Look at what we talked about earlier. We have a claim for the subject and a purchase order for the subject. Both of those are singular. It's joined by and it shows plurality. So we would probably need a plural verb, which would not be requires, but be require. This rule right here said if the words each and every precedes the subjects that are joined by the word and, then it forces the verb to become singular because of the singular subject each. It's talking about each claim and purchase order, or every claim and every purchase order. It's talking about them individually. So the words each and every force the verb that follows to be singular. So it's each requires. Singular and singular. Every man, every single man, every single woman, and every single child is eligible. Even though there's an and right there with a plurality of joining singular and plural subjects, the word every supersedes the plurality of these three items and becomes the singular subject. So therefore we need a singular verb. Now here, the word macaroni and cheese, let's go ahead and read the rest of it. It's not talking about two items, even though it's joined with the word and. It's the daughter's favorite meal. Macaroni and cheese is one item. Therefore, a singular subject is used since the subject is one item and is considered to be singular. His wife and best friend, same person, is Christina. So therefore, even though the words wife and friend are joined by the word and, since that's the same person, we need to make those two subjects singular with a singular verb. Okay, on the next page, company and organization names are always considered to be singular. General Motors was. Creative Commons helps. Cleveland Cavaliers expects. Even though that's an S ending, it's one team, so we need a singular verb. Titles, the same way. Here's 100 ways to make yourself indispensable at work. Was. So here's a title that's singular with a singular verb. Tears in Heaven is the name of one of Eric Clapton's most popular songs. Even though there shows plurality in the title, it's a title. Titles are considered to be singular, so we need a singular verb. Okay, level 2. Subjects joined by or nor. Anytime that you have subjects joined by either or, neither nor, or nor, always look at the last one and determine if that particular word that's functioning as a subject, if it's singular, use a singular verb. If that last word is plural, use a plural verb. So in this particular case, neither nor. Okay, we have members, which is plural, and leader, which is singular. This one doesn't matter because it's one or the other and it's one closest to the verb. So leader is singular, so we need a singular verb. Neither nor, the leader, which is singular, and now members, which is plural. Since this one is closest to the verb, make the verb plural. Okay, either or, carrier you, and the word you is always associated with the verb are. So you are in charge of the planning event. Either you or Carrie. Now they flip-flop this either or situation here. This one shows the plurality. And Carrie is singular, So the verb closest to the last one in the series, it's one or the other. Since that one's singular, use a singular verb. Okay, here are indefinite pronouns that are always considered to be singular. That would be anyone, anybody, anything, each, either, every, everyone, everybody, everything, neither, no one, nobody, nothing, someone, somebody, and something. These are always singular. This next column shows those pronouns that are always plural. There's only 4 of them: both, few, many, and several. Then finally, the last column is are pronouns that can be singular or plural, and these are the ones that are based upon the object of the preposition that follows, which is all, any, more, most, none, and some. The word none used to always be considered to be singular. That's changed. Now they've placed it in this particular list. And none will be singular if the object of the preposition that follows is singular, and plural if it's the object of the preposition that follows is plural. Okay, so here we have the prepositional phrase of the locations. Either is always considered to be singular, so we need a singular verb, because either is always considered to be singular. Somebody is always considered to be singular, so we need a singular verb. Each is always considered to be singular, so we need a singular verb. Everybody is always considered to be singular, so we need a singular verb. Okay, the next part uses those that are considered to be plural. Okay, both is always considered to be plural, so we need a plural verb. Few is always considered to be plural, so we need a plural verb. Many is considered to be a plural pronoun, so we need a plural verb. Several is always considered to be plural, so we need a plural verb. Now I will say the word many, if you change that to many a person, if you add the word a after the word many, then the verb that follows will be singular. But many by itself is considered to be plural. Now this next section shows pronouns that can be singular or plural. And those include all, more, most, some, any, and none. All, more, most, some, any, and none. Look at the prepositional phrase that follows, and if it's the object of that preposition is singular, use a singular verb. If the object of that preposition is plural, use a plural verb. So here's one of those that can be singular or plural. Look at the prepositional phrase. Film is singular, so now some is considered to be singular, so we need a singular verb. Some is controversial. Okay, some of our customers. Look at this prepositional phrase. Customers is plural, so that makes some plural. We need a plural verb, which is prefer. Most of the report is written. Report is considered to be singular, so most will be singular, and we need a singular verb. Most of the applicants are college graduates. Applicants is the object of the preposition, which is plural, so that converts most to plural, so we need a plural verb. Okay, the indefinite pronouns anyone and everyone are spelled as 2 words when followed by of phrases. Right there. Everyone of us. Any one of those. So it's everyone and anyone. When an of phrase follows, they become 2 words. Otherwise, they're considered to be 1 word. Okay, collective nouns. Like team, faculty, committee, audience, group, jury, crowd, flock, board, class, council. When they're acting as an entire group, they're considered to be singular. When they're acting independently of one another, they're considered to be plural. So here we have the team in 2 different scenarios. Let's look at the first scenario. The team is united in its approval of a strict locker room policy. So as a team, as a group, they're acting collectively as one unit, so that makes team singular, so we need a singular verb. But look at this next scenario. The team was or were still dressing when the reporter entered the locker room. Since the team members were all getting dressed independently of one another, that means the team is identified with its plurality. So we need a plural verb. So the team were still dressing when the reporter entered the locker room. That sounds really awkward. Probably better to say the team members were still dressing when the reporter entered the locker room. The team members, making members plural, and then we could use a plural verb, were. That would be a better way to structure it, but the team certainly is acting independently of one another, so it becomes plural and we need a plural verb. Alrighty, also the council was or were sharply divided over whether to install smartphones or whatever. Since they were arguing amongst themselves, the council indicates plurality, so we need a plural verb. Okay, the last section of chapter 6 is, here we have the number and a number. The number is always singular, so the number, and then you'll usually have a prepositional phrase. That is singular, so now we need a singular verb, is. Okay, this next one right here, a number of customers. Since it's a number, then we need a plural verb, generally because the prepositional phrase that follows is going to indicate plurality. So the number is always singular and a number is always plural. Quantities and measures. Okay, for example, $15. Is it talking about 15 individual dollars or $15 as one unit? If it's considered to be one unit, then make it singular and then use a singular verb. So $15 was the monthly charge, which is the amount, which makes $15 singular, and so we need a singular verb. Okay, on the next page, $15 were laid out on the table during the demonstration. Okay, that's like 15 single dollar bills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 15. Each individual $15 bills are being laid out. So $15 is being used as a plural subject in this case, so we need a plural verb, were. It would probably be less awkward if it read $15 bills were laid out, since that's what it's meaning. Okay, 3 years is or are the period of the loan. Since it's one collective time, 3 years is considered to be singular, so we'll use a singular verb. Here, 3 years are needed to completely renovate the property. 3 separate years. Now, 3 years is functioning as a plural subject, so we need a plural verb, are. Okay, fractions and portions and percentages. Anytime that you have a fraction, a portion, or a percentage, look at the object of the preposition that follows. Here's of the apartment complex, it's singular, so that's going to make the measurement of, or the fraction of 1/4 singular, which means we'll use a singular verb. Here, 1/4, and then in the prepositional phrase is of voters. Since voters is plural, 1/4 becomes plural, and we need a plural verb. Okay, a majority of the report discusses. Of the report is singular, so we're going to make majority singular, which makes forces us to use a singular verb, discusses. Here, a majority of employees, since employees is plural, then a majority becomes plural, and we'll use a plural verb, agree. And then finally down here is a percentage of the budget. Budget is singular, so this percentage becomes a singular subject, so I need a singular verb. And then immediately below that, with the use of the word percentage, we'll look at the object of the preposition. And it's plural, so percentage becomes plural, so we need a plural verb. Percentage of the proceeds go to charity. Now, who and that clauses? Whenever you have a who or that clause that's introduced with the word one of, when it's introduced by one of, if it's a who or that clause, if it's introduced by one of, the verb is usually plural because it refers to a plural noun. Look at this. Lotus Love is one of those executives who always support their employees. Okay, is one of. Lotus Love is your subject, is one of, and then the who clause is usually referring to executives. Who is referring to executives, which is plural, so the plural pronoun supports the plural subject, and the verb is also considered to be plural. To Kill a Mockingbird is one of those books that. So this one has a who clause, this one's a that clause. Anytime you have a who or that clause, and it's introduced with the word one of, then that makes the verb associated with the that clause plural to support the subject of that clause, which is plural. Now, on the other hand, when you have a who or that clause introduced by only one of, not one of, but the word only, just add the word only to it, then the verb becomes singular. So Amanda is the only one of, not, we've added the word only. So before we had one of, and so that made the verb associated with the noun of that clause plural. Now we add the word only, which usually means singular. So the verb associated with the that or who clause becomes singular because of the only, because of the word only in that particular case. So the only one of is in both of those cases. Okay, now subject complements. Let's do a really quick review. Oh, before I get to the complements, sometimes you have phrases or clauses that function as sentence subjects. The entire phrase or the clause will be the full subject. Usually that occurs more often with verbals than it does with anything else, but you have this verbal phrase right here, learning about different cultures. Just that particular process is considered to be singular, so we need a singular verb. So it's the process, the learning that we're talking about. Since that particular item is singular, we're going to use a singular verb. And then the next one, that verbs must agree with subjects. That particular subject right there is singular, so we need a singular subject. Use a singular verb when the subject of a sentence is a phrase or a clause, even though it shows plurality in that phrase or that clause. Subject complements. Let's take a look at this one. This one's awkward. First of all, let's do a little bit of review. Anytime that you can ask the questions what or who after an action verb, that answer to the question what or who is a direct object. If it's an action verb, what is an action verb? An action verb is a verb that shows action, like the word jump, take, complete, throw. Those are action verbs, and then when you answer the question, what or who, the answer to that question is going to be a direct object or an indirect object. Now, whenever you have the verbs am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been, and then the other ones such as feel, taste, touch, smell, listen, those are also considered to be, most of the time, linking verbs. Then the answer to the question what or who after a linking verb is called a subject complement because it refers to the subject. Whereas in the previous case, the answer to the question what or who receives the action from the main verb if it's an action verb. Since these are not action verbs, it connects the subject to the complement, hence a subject complement. So right here is, if you look at this particular one right here, it looks like the word part is your singular subject, which is going to be wrong, by the way, in just a moment. Part, and then the singular verb is part is, photography and celebrity bloopers. Both of these, this whole area is your subject complement, and it tells you the part is photography and celebrity bloopers. The problem here is we say the part, the best part, but we have two items. Since the subject complement includes two items, and then we need to make this parts. So this needs to become parts, and the verb needs to become plural. Plural parts, plural verb. The best parts of the video are the photography and celebrity bloopers, as they indicated right here in this next section. Okay, this next one. The reason for his bankruptcy was poor management and decision making. So you can probably see how this is these are easy errors to make. Reason is singular, was is singular, and what or who, management and decision making. So here's your subject complements right here. You have two of them, but it doesn't support your subject that is singular when you have plural subject complements. So you have to change reason to reasons to make it plural, and then were to make the verb plural to support the subject complements that are plural, as indicated in this next area here. Okay, that concludes chapter 6, but let's do look at the FAQs. It says, I don't understand why there can't be used as a subject of a sentence. The word there and it and here, they're all typical. Whenever you begin a sentence with those words, then it forces you to look elsewhere for the subject, which really takes up the reader's time. So avoid those as sentence endings. My uncle insists that none is singular. My English book says that it can be plural. Who's right? Now, in this day and age, both of you are correct. The word none can be singular or plural depending on the object of the preposition that follows. Okay, then the next section. Is there a difference between the words premier without an E and premier with an E? How can I decide which to use? Okay, first of all, premier without an E can be an adjective or a noun, and also premier with an E can be a noun or a verb. Okay, now with an E, it's always a performer or an artist. Whenever it's referring to premier with an E, you're talking about a performer or an artist. Whereas without the E, you are talking about the rank or a specific person, like a leader, a premier. So let's look at these examples here. Premier without an E can be used as an adjective, meaning first in rank, position, importance, or time. So Google is one of the premier or first web search tools without an E. Okay? As a noun, premier without an E refers to a prime minister of a parliamentary government. The premier spoke as a leader without an E to the large crowd. Now the word premier with an E can serve as a noun or a verb. As a noun, premier with an E means a first performance or exhibition, as in the Hollywood premiere with an E was an exciting event. As a verb, premiere with an E means to give a first public performance. For example, the film will premiere with an E in New York City. Or to appear for the first time as a performer, Johnny Depp premiered with an E in the film A Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay, the next section is what is the difference between the word discrete with two E's or discrete where you separate the E's and it's spelled D-I-S-C-R-E-T-E. Well, since the E's are separated right here, this verb means to separate. Discrete, E-T-E, means to separate your E's, if you will. For example, Alpha Incorporated has installed discrete or separate computers rather than a network computer system. So now the E's are separated, and it means separate computers or different computers. Now discrete, E-E, means to show discretion, to show good judgment. Can you write cannot as one word or two words? It should mostly be used as one word. Only use it as two words when you're using the word can, not only, but also. So not only, but also, next to the word can, then it becomes two words. So more times than not, it will be cannot as one word. Okay, this next section here, should we hyphenate cooperate? No, not anymore. You used to be able to, but now it's forbidden to do so. Also, the word percent and goodwill should be spelled without any types of hyphens as they used to in the past. Strikeover is the same thing. Editor-in-chief should be without any hyphens. Vice president should be without any hyphens. And something to kind of help a little bit, if you begin something with over or under, in the past we hyphenated, take that hyphen away now. And then so over, and then I created a word called predis. I'm going to change that word. I'm going to change it to co, pre, dis, anon. Dis, anon. Okay, or under co, pre, dis, anon. So the word co, op, pre, re, dis, un, none. None of those prefixes should be hyphenated unless it violates the meaning of the intended word. I used an example a while back with the word recovery. Recover, should it be hyphenated or not hyphenated? Well, it depends. If I said I want to recover from this, I hope to recover from this illness, this recover would be the proper verb. But this Friday helped me recover my sofa. Spelled the same way as it is here, but since it has a completely different meaning, to cover it again, then the word re is hyphenated. My son is studying a foreign language, and he asked me, an English teacher, why we capitalize the personal pronoun I in English when we don't capitalize other pronouns. Well, that's a pretty good question. So it goes back to many years ago with typesetting, whenever the I could easily be mistaken for the letter L or the number 1 on a keyboard typewriter. So that's probably the reason as to why the word I is the only pronoun that is capitalized to this very day. Okay, when writing email messages, I often type in all capital letters. My boss told me to stop it. Why? Because it sounds like you're yelling at me. Avoid using all caps unless it's a subject line, which most subject lines usually appear in all caps and don't have that negative connotation of someone yelling at you. Okay, this next section, I confuse IE and EG. What is the difference? Well, first of all, let's look at the punctuation. Both of these have periods after the initial and a comma after those. That's the way that they're written all the time. The word IE means that is, and the word for example, EG means for example, and look how I spelled it. For egg, EG, example. So that helps me remember that the EG means for example. Let's look at the examples here. EG. Okay, here is it est, which is IE, meaning that is. The package exceeds the weight limit. That is 5 pounds. I period, E period, comma. The abbreviation EG stands for the Latin exempli gratia, meaning for the sake of example or for example. So therefore, the manufacturer may offer a purchase incentive, comma, for example, E period, G period, comma, a rebate or discount plan, one or the other. Okay, next question. I included this sentence in a job acceptance letter to my new employer. I am anxious to begin my new position with Miller & Associates. Is this correct? No. You're looking forward to it, so you are eager. Now, you're anxious about the blood work that you had drawn earlier today. You want to find out the results. So you're anxious about that. So the word anxious means with great anxiety, with discomfort. The word eager just means you're looking forward to something. We confuse those particular words on a regular basis. Okay, we're going to go ahead and call it quits for chapter 6. Look at the reinforcement exercises for that entire chapter, and those are also on the podcast as well.